Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to another Good Morning Grief Devotion. It's Shabbat. Pastor Corey Allen Duncan Sr. We so happy to be here with you on a day to lead you in a very special way and yet another Good Morning Grief Devotion. Yo, this is the daily grief devotion that is strategically designed to help you to navigate through your grief one day at a time. What is grief? I'm so glad you asked. Grief, my brothers and sisters, it is the natural, normal, and necessary response to loss, change, and transition that results in the expressions of feelings and emotions. Grief is what you feel on the inside. Mourning is what you reveal on the outside. Therefore, we don't suppress it, but we express it. We don't ignore it, but we explore it. We don't conceal it, but we reveal it. We don't lock it up, but we let it out. That's why we shout, good morning, good morning, good morning, because morning is a good thing. I want you to know that. I want you to understand that. I want you to get that in your heart, your mind, and your spirit that is good for you to mourn. You got to let that thing out, baby. As you deal with the loss, change, and transition that you go through in your life, you better stop suppressing that. You better address it and express it. Oh, it's going to make you feel a whole lot better. And so we are grateful and thankful for this day, for this opportunity. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of your grief journey, and I'm ready to lead you in today's grief devotion. Today's grief devotion says, the first are always hard. The firsts are always hard. Let's talk about it, y'all. After a significant life loss, time stops. And eventually, it restarts. The earth keeps turning, the seasons pass, and we slowly return to regular activities and commitments. After a significant life loss, time stops. Have you experienced that? Did it seem like time stopped when you went through what you went through? It seemed like everything around you just paused, that you were stuck in a moment of time, right? Because the loss was so severe, it was so rough, it was so tough, it was so hard that it just seemed like everything stopped, right? That after a significant loss, you deal with this, it's the painful pause, right? It is this pause that happens, this pause that takes place in the midst of a painful life loss. It seems like time stops, right? And eventually it restarts. That the earth keeps turning, the seasons pass, the sun is going to come up. We slowly return to regular activities and commitments. I don't know where you are in your journey. I don't know if you are in the pause. I don't know if you're slowly, restarting and getting back to your regular commitments and everything. But this is a natural cycle that we go through as it relates to loss, change, and transition. The first time we return to a certain activity or event after a death is often difficult. The first time you get back to an activity, it is difficult. The first time I remember my father died. So he would always come to the barbershop Saturday, Friday, Saturday, get his hair cut. This particular Saturday, he didn't show up. That's when we, go to his house and find him dead on the side of the bed. And so that happened. And then the next Friday, we were having his funeral. Um, and had the funeral. And then the week after that, so it was 2 weeks later, I'm back in the barber shop on that Saturday. So it's 2 weeks. I'm back in the barber shop the following Saturday, not the day after the funeral, but the Saturday after that. And so I'm back in the barber shop, and that's when I got the call because he didn't show up at the shop. My brother went to go see him. He called, and I was still at the shop. He was crying and saying he was laid out. And so 2 weeks afterwards, um, I'm back in the shop, right? So that was my first time like back in the shop afterwards, and oh my God, it was the scene. It was the scene, right? Because I knew he wasn't coming no more. That's where I got the phone call, and so that first time back in there, ooh, it was so hard. I remember I just broke down. I'm cutting hair, and just in the middle of it, I phew, just lost it and broke down. Because when you get back to the first, The first time we return to a certain activity or event after death is often difficult. The first time you go back to work, the first time you go back to church, the first time you go back to whatever it is that you're getting back to, right? The first time you do it, right, is different. It's got a little hint to it. It's got a little, it's different the first time you do it, right? Because you're doing it now differently. That things and circumstances and things are changing. Like you're doing it with this, there's this loss, there's this void, there's this emptiness. And the first time of going back to something, it can be difficult. How many of y'all can relate to that? How many of y'all can relate to that? Say, yo, the first time the first time I went back to the job, the first time I went back to the mall, the first time I went grocery shopping, the first time I went back to church, the first time I went back to a certain activity, the first time I tried to go back to the movies because I'm always with them, or the first time I tried to go out to eat. It was the first time, right? My father died in December. I graduated 3 weeks after that. December 3rd, I graduated the 17th, something like that. And so usually when there's a celebration, everybody's at the table, right? So I remember I graduated and that was cloudy. Then we went out to eat and that was just kind of quiet and somber. You want to rejoice the graduation, but you're just kind of somber because of the death. And then I remember we ate and then we left and all that stuff. And I got in the car and immediately, right, I'm breaking down and I'm crying, right? Because it was the first time of us having this gathering, but it's empty. There's a loss. There's something different, right? So a lot of times the first time engaging in various activities, it can be difficult. The first that are hardest for me may be different than those of other mourners. The first grocery store trip might be fine, but the first visit to a favorite restaurant might be painful. The first birthday, anniversary, or holiday is often heartbreaking, right? I remember he died in December. So the official first, now there are three, you can barbecue anytime, but there are really three official cookouts, right, of the summer. There's three official. Y'all can fight me on this, but it's three official. Now you can do it anytime, but it's three official. You got Memorial Day weekend. Oh, that's official tissue. That's the first one of the year. That kicks off the summer. You got the 4th of July, right? The 4th of July or Juneteenth now, right? Then you got Labor Day. That's the end of it, right? You got one in the beginning, one in the middle, one in the end. Those are the three official. Now you could cook out any time, but those are the three official. And so Memorial Day was the first one since he died in December. And man, when the reality sunk in that truck ain't pulling up, right? Oh my God. Oh my God. Had a moment in the garage. I'm like, oh my God, right? Because the first can be oftentimes the most difficult, right? So the first birthday, the first anniversary, the first holiday is often heartbreaking. I will be gentle and patient with myself as I encounter each first. This is what you got to do. You got to be gentle. You got to be patient with yourself as you encounter each first. And it's not just the second, the third, the fourth, all that can be difficult. But definitely a lot of times the first ones are very hard. So if you are anticipating, right, if you are fresh on this grief journey, and you're anticipating those first, a lot of times, if you are proactive and you know it's coming, this is what I mean when I say don't ignore it, explore it. A lot of times we just want to ignore and be like, oh, I just deal with it when it comes. But if you're proactive and try to put some things in place, I mean, you still gonna cry and it still may be terrible. But you are aware, right? You are aware. And so there's certain things that you may do to kind of position yourself to help you to navigate through those first. Here's the final thought, y'all. If I'm dreading a first, I will not live in silent dread, but instead express my thoughts and feelings to someone who cares about me. If I'm dreading a first, I will not live in silent dread, but instead I'm going to express my thoughts and feelings to someone who cares about me. This, my brothers and sisters, is mourning. If you're dreading it first, I'm not going to live in silent dread. I'm not going to suppress it. I'm not going to conceal it, but I'm going to reveal it. I'm going to express it. I'm going to express it to someone I know who cares about me. I'm going to reveal. I'm going to talk about it. It's coming up. I'm going to talk about it. I just don't want to survive. I want to thrive. And in order for me to thrive, I'm going to talk about it. In order for me to thrive, I got to deal with it. I'm going to be proactive. We're going to talk about it, right? Because that's the reality of the situation. Today, my brothers and sisters, is indeed. Any questions? Y'all got any questions? Y'all quiet today. Today is day 103. This is for you and for me. The firsts are always hard. The firsts are always hard. Questions, comments, if you got them, holla at your boy. Questions, comments, if you got them, holla at your boy. Holla at your boy. Holla at your boy. Holla at your boy. Y'all ain't got nothing for me today. I love y'all with the love of the Lord, though. I appreciate y'all. Hope and pray y'all have a phenomenal Friday. Y'all hang in there. We're going to keep on navigating through this thing together. You hear me? We're going to keep navigating through this thing together. We going to make it. I'm glad. I'm thankful for each and every one of y'all. And looking forward to it. Thank you for letting me be part of your journey. I love y'all with the love of the Lord. We out. Have a phenomenal